I was an unfaithful wife and cheated on my husband with my boss twice a day until I got pregnant. He called me easy fatty, and I live with my mother with my rejected baby. My name is Juliana. I am 35 years old, and I have been an administrative assistant for almost a decade at the same company. I have always been that woman who goes unnoticed, both at work and at home. I am not thin or sensual or flashy. I am chubby, discreet, and quiet, the type of woman no one notices. When I married Angel, I thought I had found someone who saw me, but over the years, I realized that even he began to see me simply as a decorative object at home. Our marriage became an unbearable repetition. We ate in silence. We had sex out of obligation. We slept like roommates. Angel is 38 years old and works in network and computer maintenance. He was always hardworking, honest, but distant. At first, he called me beautiful, he surprised me, he hugged me from behind. But as I gained weight over time, with antidepressants, with the sedentary lifestyle of adult life, he began to distance himself. He never betrayed me, I know that, but he ignored me as if I were part of the furniture. I begged for affection and heard answers like, I am tired, or not now. I even tried to change myself, go on a diet, wear new lingerie, but he did not even notice. It was like screaming in silence. Our marriage had lasted 12 years with no children, no plans, no love. And the saddest thing is that I got used to it. I started to think that this was what I deserved, that it was the most attention a woman like me would receive. I convinced myself that I was not pretty enough to be desired, that she was not smart enough to be admired, that I was too old to dream of more. I just followed the routine, living from Monday to Friday, waiting for Saturday, and when Saturday came, I just wanted to sleep. Life was losing its flavor. It was in this gray scenario that Jose appeared, my boss, 45 years old, elegant, successful, with one of those mesmerizing voices. He always treated me with kindness, which puzzled me at first. I thought it was just courtesy, but he was different with me. He started asking me about my day, praising my work and saying that the company only worked because I was the brain behind everything. And then the compliments changed tone. He said I had a charming smile, that my skin was soft, and that he loved my perfume. I felt embarrassed but alive. It was the first time in years that I felt wanted. I should have stopped there. I should have set boundaries. But the truth is that I did not want to. I wanted that. I wanted to feel beautiful, special, unique. I wanted someone to see me as a woman again, and Jose knew exactly what to say. He was experienced. He knew how to approach without scaring me, how to make me vulnerable, how to make my heart beat faster with just a look. I started to fantasize about him. I caught myself smiling alone at work. I came home and felt even more empty next to Angel. It was like comparing a fire to a lit candle. Today, looking back, I see how small it all started, like a crack you ignore until the wall collapses. It did not happen overnight. It was an accumulation of neglect, neediness, and ego. I was fragile, needy, vulnerable, and Jose knew how to exploit every void he found in me. When I realized it, there was no turning back. It was more than a temptation, it was already an addiction. And everything that came after, well, I paid for it dearly, very dearly. It all started so subtly that it seemed innocent. Jose would pass by my desk and call me the star of the company, saying that I was the engine that made everything work. One day, he brought me a coffee just the way I liked it, without me asking for it. On another, he praised my floral dress, saying it matched my sweet manner. I smiled shyly, pretending it meant nothing, but each of his words dug a deeper hole in my neediness. It was as if someone finally saw something in me beyond the extra pounds or the role I was playing. The touches came later. First, there were subtle touches, a hand on the shoulder, a brush of arms by the photocopier. Jose was good at disguising it. He made everything seem casual, as if it were natural, but I felt the heat. I felt my body react, my breath quicken, and he knew it. It was as if he was testing my limits every day. One day, as he passed by me while I was writing, he whispered, "I love seeing you so focused. It is sexy." I pretended not to have heard, but my whole body was on fire. And I did not stop him. I did not report him. I did not run away. I wanted more. The first time we kissed was in the meeting room after a grueling day of work. He called me to review a report, and in the middle of the conversation, he said he loved how my mouth moved when I spoke. Without me expecting it, he approached me and kissed me. It was a deep, firm kiss, one that makes you aware. I resisted for about 2 seconds, but then I gave in. I left there with trembling legs and a racing heart. I spent the whole night at home thinking about it, and for the first time in a long time, I felt desire again. The following week, he called me to his office and locked the door. He said he could not stop thinking about me, that he was going crazy, that I turned him on just by breathing. Before I said anything, he knelt in front of me and kissed me between my legs, through my pants. I froze, but I did not stop him. On the contrary, I opened up. At that moment, I left behind any trace of reason. After that, the scene was repeated every day, sometimes twice a day. I knelt in front of him. I performed oral sex on him willingly, hungrily. I drove him crazy. It was my ritual of submission. I loved it. His room became our secret temple. I even left mouthwash in his room to clean my mouth after my actions. And I felt alive, desired, even necessary, feeling important to satisfy a man who desired me. We started exchanging steamy messages after hours. He said he dreamed of me, that he did not sleep thinking about me. And I, who had never experienced anything like that, dived in headfirst. Angel, my husband, seemed more and more faded in the face of the explosion that Jose represented. My eyes, my body, my mind, everything was caught up in that tension, in that secret. I dressed better for work. I wore perfume. I took care of my hair. Not for me, for him. It was Jose I wanted to please, and he understood it. He said he had never felt so much desire for someone as for me. The first time we went to a motel was his idea. He said he wanted to have me for real, without hurry, without interruptions. I hesitated, of course, but deep down, I already knew it was inevitable. We went in a rented car to a secluded and discreet place. I was shaking. He undressed me with cruel delicacy and devoured me as if I were the main course of a banquet. He called me delicious, obscene, his hot fatty. And I believed him. I believed that he saw something in me that no one else saw. Only much later did I realize that he only saw a weakness to be exploited. After we crossed the line of kisses and caresses in the office, everything became more intense and uncontrollable. Daily oral sex was no longer enough. He wanted to possess me completely. We started inventing off-site meetings and last-minute lunches just to escape together. We would go to hidden motels, usually during office hours, and stay for hours. He would tell me things that melted me. "You are my secret woman. No one excites me like you." I believed every word. In bed, he was wild, dominant. He made me feel between used and adored. Over time, we started frequenting the same motel always. They even knew our favorite room. Jose liked to see me naked on all fours. He called me his hot fatty. He said he had never felt so much pleasure with any other woman. I gave myself in a way I never gave myself to myself or my husband. We did things I did not even know I was capable of. He asked me to talk dirty, to say how much I liked being used. I obeyed. I felt important, desired, special. Every day, I sank deeper, thinking this was love. That is when he started taking me on trips. The first one was for a conference in another city, all paid for by the company. He made me an essential companion at the event. I spent 4 days with him in a luxury hotel, as if we were a couple. During the day, we appeared discreetly at the events, but at night, it was just sex, lots of sex. He drank wine and said I was the best thing that had ever happened to him. He made me feel unique, irreplaceable. I deceived myself. I thought I was finally gaining a place in his heart. I did not realize it was just another game. Then came other trips, sometimes twice a month. Angel, my husband, thought I was being promoted, that I was growing professionally. I lied without batting an eye. I invented reports, meetings, everything. I felt powerful, living a double life. Jose gave me lingerie, perfumes, and sometimes even money as a gift. I convinced myself he was falling in love, that he just did not leave his wife because of the children. He always said this: "When my children are older, we can be together." I believed him. How stupid I was. Once during these trips, he made me record a video. I was riding him, moving hard, moaning loudly, saying I was his fatty. He loved to humiliate me like that, and I let him, thinking it was surrender. Later, I found out that he showed the video to his friends at barbecues, but at that moment, I did not know. All I knew was that he said he loved me while holding me by the hips and spanking me hard, and I loved it. I thought it was passion. I did not see it was just domination, use, ego. Jose was a predator, and I was the easy prey. The last straw, or the beginning of the end, was when I realized my period was late. I thought it was stress or the effects of medication. I took a test in the office bathroom. 2 lines. Positive. My heart raced, and instead of panic, I felt hope. I believed with all my being that this baby would unite us, that now he could not ignore me. I was going to be the mother of the child of the man I loved. I did not know that this was the beginning of hell. The real abyss was yet to come. The next trip was to a resort where Jose said he wanted to spend more time with me without interruptions. I was full of hope, with the pregnancy test in my purse and my heart pounding in my chest. I waited for the right moment. I waited until he was relaxed after dinner, while we were watching the sea from the balcony. I said I had news. He smiled, thinking it was some kind of joke. When I mentioned the pregnancy, his smile vanished. He froze. He looked at me as if I were a problem, a weight, a mistake. "Are you sure?" was the first thing that came out of his mouth. That night, he barely spoke to me. He slept facing the other side of the bed. The next day, he seemed like a different man, cold, impatient, distant. At breakfast, I said we needed to talk. We went to a more private corner of the hotel. There, he looked me in the eyes and said bluntly, "You have to get rid of this. This cannot happen." That hit me like a knife. I asked if he did not want to leave, if he did not feel anything for me. He laughed, a bitter, cruel laugh, and said the phrase I have never forgotten, "Juliana, you are fun, but it was just sex. I like having sex with fat girls. That is all." My world collapsed. I felt like nothing, as if all the moments, the kisses, the plans had been trash. Right there, I started crying desperately. He tried to calm me with a practical tone. He said he could pay for a good clinic, that he would solve everything discreetly. He said it was better for me, for him, for everyone. I said I was not going to have an abortion, that I could not. He got angry. He said I was selfish, that I was trying to ruin his life, that I should think it over because a pregnancy could end everything. And then he fell silent. That night, he showed up with tea in a thermos. He said it was a homemade tea to relieve tension. Suspiciously, I asked what it was. He said it was a natural sedative, but something in his eyes scared me. The smell of the tea was bitter, strong. I took a sip and immediately felt sick. That is when I understood that he might be trying something. I locked myself in the bathroom. I vomited. I cried. I spent hours huddled on the floor, hugging my legs, and for the first time, I thought about running away. This was no longer a forbidden passion, it was a nightmare. I waited for him to fall asleep. I grabbed my suitcase and called a taxi through the app. I left without saying anything, with a racing heart and a churning stomach. During the ride to the airport, I tried to convince myself that he was just desperate, but deep down, I knew he never loved me. He just used me. He only wanted my body, and now that there was a consequence, he wanted to erase it as if nothing had happened. I arrived home more ashamed than ever. I felt dirty, naive, and I still had no idea what was waiting for me. Returning home was like entering a new hell. Angel hugged me at the door, thinking I was just tired. He said he missed me, and I just cried. I slept for 2 days straight with a shattered soul. But the universe, or perhaps fate, was not going to leave me in peace for long because while I was trying to forget Jose, Angel started to suspect. And the GPS on my cell phone, which I did not even know he had access to, was going to betray me in a way I never would have imagined. I thought I was safe, that I had escaped the worst. But the worst was still being prepared, and I did not even know it. Angel had started to suspect my frequent absences and rehearsed excuses, the way I arrived tired, the different smell, the new underwear. One day, while I was sleeping, he installed an app on my phone that mirrored my location in real time. I did not even notice. I never imagined he would be suspicious enough to watch me. But he remained silent, watching, waiting for the right moment. And that moment was not long in coming. Without my knowledge, Angel followed me on a new business trip. Jose had convinced me to travel again, saying he needed to resolve some contracts. I, still hurt from what had happened, hesitated, but I ended up going. I thought maybe he was sorry and that he might apologize to me. And again, I deceived myself. We arrived at the hotel. For the first 2 days, Jose behaved as if nothing had happened. He was affectionate. He took me to dinner. He kissed me by the pool. And Angel was there, staying in another room, watching me. Angel saw me at the pool with Jose, laughing, drinking. He saw me holding hands with him in the restaurant. As he told me later, he thought about leaving, but something inside him wanted to see how far it would go. So he waited until the last day. He waited until night. Jose and I returned to the room after a dinner full of wine. We were already completely loose, drunk on lust and illusion. He threw me on the bed. He tore my clothes and began to possess me forcefully. I moaned loudly, saying he had to enjoy his naughty fatty. He said I was even sexier and rounder when I was pregnant, just the way he liked it. And it was exactly at that moment that the door opened. The doorknob turned slowly, and before I could understand what was happening, Angel entered the room. The first thing he saw was me on all fours on the bed, completely naked, while Jose held me by the hips and I moaned for more. I froze. I tried to cover my body, but it was too late. Angel was holding a bottle of wine in his hand, which he smashed over Jose's head without hesitation. The sound of breaking glass, the screams, everything seemed to be in slow motion. Jose fell to the floor, dazed, and Angel looked at me with an expression I will never forget. "Is this what you have become?" he said, "a motel whore who begs to be used like an old toy?" I cried. I begged. I tried to explain, but he said I was nothing to him anymore. Jose tried to get up, stunned, with a cut on his head. Angel kicked his suitcase, grabbed mine, and left the room. I stayed there naked, crying, with the taste of shame suffocating me. Jose looked at me nervously and said that I had ruined everything, as if it were my fault, as if he had not been the manipulative scoundrel of it all. The next day, Angel disappeared. He blocked my number. He deleted all social media. He left me at the hotel with a return ticket in my name and a wound that never healed. I returned home alone, carrying a suitcase and a guilt that seemed to weigh tons. My husband saw me as I refused to see myself, a woman shattered by her own vanity. I had betrayed the one who loved me most, and now I was paying the price for it. But it was not the end yet. What came next was a slow, prolonged, and well-deserved punishment. When I returned from that trip, I found the house empty. Angel had taken everything, clothes, documents, even his pillow, as if he had never existed there. The key I used to get in still worked, but it was like breaking into a tomb. I cried in every room. I collapsed on the bed we once shared. I did not eat for 2 days. I just lay there, waiting for a call, a message, a sign that there was still a chance for forgiveness. But he never spoke to me again. He did not reply to my audios. He did not read my messages. It was as if I had died for him, and in a way, I really did die. The first bomb came from human resources. Someone reported my affair with Jose. I do not know if it was out of envy, revenge, or if the company was already aware of the rumors. All I know is that I was called into a conduct meeting, and in less than a week, I was fired. Justification: inappropriate relationship with a superior during work hours. I did not even try to defend myself. I left ashamed, without looking anyone in the eye. My colleagues, who had once treated me with kindness, now whispered behind my back. Shame silenced me. The invisible woman became the scandal of the sector. Without a job and without a husband, I had to swallow my pride and go back to my mother's house. She received me without asking anything, but the look in her eyes said it all, a mixture of pity and disappointment. I slept on the sofa bed in the living room. I felt constantly sick, and my belly was beginning to show. The pregnancy continued in silence. I did not post anything. I did not tell almost anyone. I became a specter, a pregnant, unemployed, rejected, and forgotten woman. The days passed slowly, without color. I felt like human trash, a failure, a shame. Jose tried to disappear. I did not answer calls. I did not reply to messages. When he finally replied, he said the child was not his, that I must have gotten pregnant by my husband, and I was trying to throw the child on his back to get revenge. I had to take legal action. I took a DNA test during the 8th month. Confirmed. It was his. The court determined the pension, nothing beyond that. No visits, no affection, no presence. He treated me like a problem that needed to be contained, a mistake to be erased. My son became a number on his bank statement. The birth was lonely. My mother held my hand, no one else. I cried when I saw my baby, but the crying was confused, a mixture of love, guilt, and fear. I did not know if I was worthy of raising such an innocent being. During the nights, I would stare at the ceiling, wondering how I got here. I remembered every compliment from Jose, every moan, every lie I told Angel. I felt like an emotional criminal. I had killed the love of a good man for that of a lover who saw me as a cheap fetish. My reputation in the family died. Aunts avoided me. They whispered. Cousins whispered, that is the one who got pregnant by her married boss and destroyed the marriage. They did not even lie to make things better. The truth was cruel enough. All I could do was accept it. I, who wanted to be loved, was now seen as a disgrace. I distanced myself from everything, from social media, friends, even the mirror. I could not stand my own reflection. The woman who looked back was a stranger destroyed by her own decisions. And there was no one to blame except me. Shortly after my son was born, I started hearing rumors that Angel was with someone else. At first, I tried to deceive myself, saying it was just gossip, but then I saw the photo. He and a beautiful, young, tan woman, holding hands in an expensive restaurant in the city. She must have been in her early 20s, with a sculpted body and an advertising smile. My chest hurt as if someone were stabbing me from the inside. It destroyed me in a way that not even Jose's abandonment had managed to. It was official. Angel had erased me from his life and replaced me with someone better. I found out her name was Camila, a personal trainer. They met at the gym he started going to after the separation. He lost weight, changed his style, and started dressing better. He became another person, an improved version of himself. And she accompanied him in everything, trips, events, outings. In the photos, they were overflowing with happiness. I watched everything in silence, reflecting on every scene, every smile. I felt like a specter watching the man who once slept with me now build a new life, more beautiful, younger, more alive, while I was stuck in limbo. The final blow was when I found out they had gotten married. I saw the wedding photos on a distant cousin's profile, a simple and elegant ceremony in the middle of nature. Angel smiled like he never smiled with me. That tore me apart. It was as if the universe was rubbing in my face everything I lost due to stupidity. He moved on. He rebuilt his life. And I was still here, trying to pick up the pieces. Knowing that he gave someone else everything I always wanted and never received was the cruelest punishment. And the worst part, he seemed genuinely happy, fulfilled, at peace. Meanwhile, Jose was sinking. After the case was exposed to me and other employees who began to report harassment, he was removed from the company. The board silenced the scandal, but he never got a management position again. He started drinking more than he already did. I heard from old colleagues that he would show up at bars alone, dirty, with a lost look. He tried to hit on young girls, but he no longer had the same power. The man who once made me feel desired was now a rag, a discredited predator, an empty man. I am not proud, but when I heard about his death, I did not cry. He died drunk, driving at high speed on a highway. He crashed head-on into a truck. They said it was depression, that he was having a breakdown. Others said it was something else. It does not matter. What matters is that his end was as dirty as his way of living. I saw the news in the local newspaper and turned off the television. I did not go to the wake. I did not light a candle. I did not shed a tear. My son will never know who he was, and maybe that is for the best, because no one needs to grow up knowing they were born from a lie. At that moment, I realized that the universe does not forget, that no matter how much we try to pretend that the consequences will not arrive, they do. For me came abandonment, humiliation, loneliness. For Jose came ruin, the fall, and death. And for Angel came peace, because he was the only one who did not deserve it all, the only one who just wanted to be loved and was betrayed. And in the end, he had his reward. And I was condemned to live with the weight of the wrong choice, and with the constant reminder of everything I lost because I wanted too much. There are nights when I wake up scared, with my heart racing, as if I were still trapped in that hotel room. Other times, I wake up crying. I dream of Angel looking at me with that face of contempt, saying that I have become no matter how much time passes, the memory of him seeing me with Jose remains alive, throbbing in my mind like an open wound. I wonder if it will ever heal. It does not seem like it. Because it is not just what happened, it is the awareness of what I destroyed. I burned my life for something that was never real. I have already thought about trying to talk to Angel. I have written long messages that I never had the courage to send. What would I say? That I regret it? That I was an idiot? He knows that. He saw it. There is no possible excuse that can fix what I did. And he moved on. It is as if my existence were just an ugly past for him, as if I had been eliminated. And maybe that is fair because I had no compassion when I lied to him. I did not think about him when I threw myself into the arms of another man. I only thought about myself, to fill the hole that I dug myself. I look at my son and I feel love, of course, but I also feel guilt. He was born from a moment of lying, from a dirty relationship, from a betrayal. Sometimes I wonder if he will be angry with me when he finds out the truth, if you are going to blame me. I try to be a good, present, and loving mother, but there are days when he cries, and I cry with him, and I do not know if it is from tiredness or desperation. I feel broken, a vase taped together. I pretend to have a strength that I do not have. And all of it because one day I let myself be carried away by sweet words and by the wrong hands. If I could go back in time, I would have asked for help. I would have gone to therapy. I would have faced my marriage with honesty. Maybe I would have even separated, but with dignity. Instead, I sank into an adventure that seemed like passion, but was nothing more than abuse disguised as desire. Jose never loved me. He liked the power, the command, and I confused it with affection. Today, I understand how needy I was, how much I let myself be used for fear of being alone. But the irony is that in trying to avoid loneliness, I ended up more alone than ever. I learned that momentary pleasure can cost a lifetime of regret, that a moan can turn into a cry of despair, that a well-told lie can become a coffin where you bury everything good you had. Sometimes I see myself cheating on bosses, colleagues, lovers, and I feel like screaming, "Do not do that." But who listens? I would not have listened. We only learn when the pain shatters us, when the world collapses, when the ground disappears. And then there will be no turning back. The only thing left is the echo of wrong decisions. Today, I no longer seek forgiveness. It would be hypocrisy. I seek peace, a little peace to breathe without hating myself. I try to build some dignity in the silence, taking care of my son, in the absence of social media. I try to make my room a refuge, my routine a penance, because that is what is left, learning to live with the pain, with shame, with the certainty that I was the villain of my own story. And now I am no longer the protagonist of anything, just a narrator of ruins, a walking confession, a living warning of what not to do. Angel never looked for me again. Not out of anger, not out of justice. He simply walked away, like someone closing the door to a room on fire. I found out from an old neighbor that he blocked any mention of my name on social media. He changed his number, and that if someone mentions my name in a conversation, he simply gets up and leaves. He does not carry pain, he carries indifference. And this is more painful than any shout or insult, because when someone hates you, at least they still feel something. Camila, the woman he married, seems to be everything I was not: active, happy, full of life. The other day, I saw a photo of her pregnant, holding her belly with Angel kissing her face. It was as if I had been punched in the stomach. While my son was born from a mistake, his son was born from love. It is not envy that I feel, it is shame, a shame that paralyzes me, that prevents me from wishing for any joy for myself because, deep down, I believe that I no longer deserve it, that any happiness would be an affront to the universe. My son grows up healthy, curious, full of energy, but I carry the weight of the past in every look I give him. It is not his fault, and I will never make him feel that way. But sometimes I wonder what I will say when he asks me about his father. Will I tell the truth? Will I invent a hero? Or will I say he was born from my worst moment? I do not know yet. I just know that he does not deserve to bear my mistakes. I try to be the best I can, even on days when I can barely get out of bed, because he is the only light left in the darkness that I created. I never got involved with anyone again. Not for lack of opportunities, but out of fear. Fear of losing myself again. Fear of trusting and being used, or worse, fear of using someone to complete what I no longer know how to complete on my own. Sometimes I think my destiny is to live alone, as a punishment, as a penance. I have accepted it. I live in silence, hidden from the world, from my family, from the friends I have left. I do the basics. I survive. And at night, when silence takes over the house, I write. I write so I do not go crazy. I write to vent. I write because it is the only thing I have left. I have already thought about asking for forgiveness, looking for Angel, kneeling, crying, begging. But I realized that would be selfish, because this forgiveness would be more for me than for him. And he has already found peace. I am his past, a dirty memory, a buried mistake. The most I can do is respect that and disappear from his life. I never looked for him again. I never spoke to anyone who knew him again. I just follow him from afar, like a shadow that silently observes what could have been if I had not traded love for desire. And that is why I am writing all this here. Not for drama, not for pity, but for real. Because no one ever told me that momentary pleasure could become a life sentence, that a warm body could become a cold soul, that betraying someone who loves you is like burning a bridge with you still on the other side. I was an unfaithful wife. I was the lover of a scoundrel. I got pregnant. I destroyed it. And now I live with what is left, a borrowed house, an innocent son, and a memory that haunts me. My name is Juliana, and that was the price I paid for wanting to feel desired.